Hi, I'm Gabriella Cortez, Show Me the Way practitioner and continuous student. Hi, and welcome to week 4. For this week, you're going to want your entire kit. Your spider model, an emotions map, word cards, picture cards, and as usual, whatever kind of notebook and pen or pencil you've been keeping your progress in. Let's begin. So before we get started on week 4, let's do a quick little recap. We had discovered our original card that kind of defines how we're feeling about our situation and why we're here. We created our spider model where we found our 2 identifications, our 2 opposing kind of energies and personalities. We then were able to connect our card with one of the 4 core emotions here. I had picked suffering with anger. And from there, we worked on our Show Me the Way effective question or vision, mine being to be at one with myself. So now that we've got to this point, before we start this week, let's do a quick check-in with our 2 IDs. My number 5 wanting child, she's been pretty high up there. However, as the weeks go by, now that I've actually been able to kind of like pay attention to what's going on and recognize, she's kind of starting to go down a little bit. Still pretty high up there, a 7. The girl in the meadow, she's pretty consistent. She's still not ready to show herself. I'll be honest, she's still at a 2. It's good to check in with your IDs at the beginning of each session and see where they are. Do they have any relation together? Are they working with each other? Do they recognize each other? Do they acknowledge each other? At the moment, the wanting child and my girl in the middle are 2 very completely different IDs. They're really not paying any mind of each other. They're really not in connect. And that's okay. I'm just going to leave them to that. So remember in week 2 when we looked into the memory and we had chosen our main card and connected it to one of these 4 emotions. I had picked suffering with anger. What we're going to do now is we're going to pick 4 random cards for your emotion map. And we can take the spider map and kind of put it aside for now. So take your picture cards and ideally keep them face down, because what we want to do is pick out 4 more cards to put in the other 4 empty squares of your emotion map. You can shuffle it any way you want, you can lay it out, you can pick it randomly, you can do the first 4 at the top, whatever feels good to you. There's a lot of freedom here. Just make sure it is kind of shuffled up, and it's kind of fun to shuffle them up if I'm honest. And just pick them randomly without thinking too much, whatever 4 cards come out. I'll just pick from here. But again, you can pick it any way you want. Now that you have your 4 cards, let's look at them. Now you can do it one by one, or you can turn them all over at the same time. There really is so much freedom in this process that you can do whatever makes you more comfortable. I'm going to do one by one. Ooh, so I got the 33 here. I'm going to make a note that I do not like spiders. No. Spiders make me really uncomfortable. And that's a really intense emotion and something for you to keep in mind whenever you see any kind of picture really in the Show Me the Way game. I really do not like this card. Ugh, spiders really give me the heebie-jeebies. But anyways, so looking at this card, I need to take it and connect it to either joy, worry, sadness, or fear. Now, this is where you have some choices. 1, you can look at your card and try to see if the image of the card on its own makes you feel already a connection to one of these 4 emotions. If that is too hard or too difficult, you are more than welcome to find the word card that connects to this one, which you will have to do anyway at some point, and use the word card to better connect it with one of the inner emotions. I'll be honest with you. It's really cool to be able to just look at the image itself and see if by the image alone you can connect it to one of the emotions. Because when you do discover the word of the card, it's really amazing to see which word comes out and how it connected with one of the inner emotions. A lot of the time, your inner instincts to an image is very highly connected to the actual meaning of the card. That being said, it is completely up to you how you want to play the game. I personally am going to look at the image of this card and connect it to one of the inner emotions. Now remember, we are picking one of the inner emotions that hasn't been picked by the original card. My original card was put in anger, so I'm not going to be putting it in anger. This card clearly makes me feel fear because I do not like spiders and I am very fearful of spiders. So I will put that under fear. And now I will move on to the next card. I see here someone doing art, very artistic. He is out in the cold. Not sure I like that. However, he is doing art and I'm an artist myself and I find a lot of joy when I do art. So I'm going to put this card on joy. Ooh, I see here an alligator or crocodile, not sure what they are, just swimming through the waters. I can see the reflection there. How does this card make me feel? Well, looks a little lonely, looks a little empty. The water's kind of brown, not too pretty. Kind of makes me feel sad. My final card. Oh, a coconut. Empty coconut. Well, not empty. It's got water, it's got meat, someone's holding it. I mean, I really only have one emotion to put it on. If I really feel that strongly that I want to change a few of them, I guess I could, although I would ideally leave my initial card exactly where I left it. I feel I'm okay with putting this card on worry, only because, well, I don't necessarily know why I would put it on worry, but it doesn't really reflect initially to any of the other cards. I don't feel fear, joy, or sadness when I see this. I can leave it in worry. I'm sure there's a message there for me to hear. So now that I picked up my picture cards into the emotions, I can find the word cards that match up to them. If you already have your words cards that match up, this part isn't for you. I'm going to find my word cards now. Okay, so I've discovered my words that go with the images on each of my emotions on the emotion map. Very interesting. Definitely take note on the words that go with your images and try to see the connection there is there. It's always kind of fun to do, although you're going to have a better chance to focus on each one as the game develops. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start creating our affirmations or our sentences for each of the different squares. Let's focus on doing them one by one, starting with joy and peace and kind of going clockwise. So for my square of joy and peace, we want to create a sentence, an affirmation, something that works towards getting to the show me question or show me vision, mine being to be at one with myself. And how we're going to do this is you're going to take the word in your card, mine being creativity, and you're going to link it by using either the word aware or inspire or aware and inspire. So that means you can use both or one word, but it must be one of the two. And what we want to start doing is creating a sentence that works towards your vision. So if I take creativity, do I want to connect it to the word aware or inspire, or aware and inspire? And when I do pick it, how do I connect it to the show me question or show me vision? How do I work with creativity, aware, inspire to be at one with myself? Really take your time with each one of these. Make sure the wording is just right. Also remember, just like in week 3 when we were working on your show me vision, you can go back to the how to word your vision kind of directional page on what words to use. It's the same idea. We want to create positive, present, affirming words and phrases and not the negative ones. If you don't remember what it's like, feel free to head over to week 3 and double check onto the rules of how to use the words. But you can definitely put them into play right now with your sentences and affirmations for week 4. So this is going to take some thinking. How to create a positive, present, affirming sentence that uses your card's word and these words to connect to show me the way, vision, or effective question. I've decided I'm going to use the word inspire. So what I want to do is try to figure out how I'm going to link creativity with the words aware and inspire, and how does that work towards my goal to be at one with myself. I have to really think, how can I use inspired and creative to be at one with myself? How do I use inspired to be creative, to be at one with myself? Ooh, when I'm inspired to be creative, I think I would kind of feel at one with myself. So that's the kind of process of using when thinking about how you want to create your sentences. Everyone's going to think differently, but just remember to really find a connection between your words and your vision, and that it's put in a positive present light. So my sentence in the end is, when I'm inspired, I'm going to put inspired. When I'm inspired to be creative. Now I did put creative in uppercase. You really can write this any way you want, but make sure that the card you pick stands out from the rest. Now that could be in just uppercase, or you can circle it. In my case, I'm going to do both because I really want to make sure that the card that I picked stands out in the sentence, and just to kind of remind myself which of the words are. You don't have to circle it if you don't want to. You don't even have to write it this way. You could just ignore that these words are here, and I could have just written, when I'm inspired to be creative. It's whatever you like. I'm a visual person, and I personally enjoy it this way, but don't feel you have to do it just like that. As you can see, I decided to write this in a very present, positive sense. When I'm inspired to be creative, it's affirming, it's decisive, it's something that works directly towards my vision goal. And that's how we want to work on the rest of the sentences. So follow along with me as I work through the rest of my emotion map with the rest of my cards. The next square we're going to go to has devote and process in it. There's actually a third word you can use, which is focus. Again, you can either use devote, process, or focus. Devote, process, and focus. Maybe devote and process, devote and focus, or maybe just one. You can really play around any way you want, but one of these words definitely have to be in your sentence. For me, I want to focus on devote or devoted. I'm going to adjust it just enough to fit within the sentence. And the sentence I want to pick with my card of service is, when I'm devoted to my acting service. Again, I'm going to circle and put in bold the word connected to the card that I had picked, service. Now we've got our third square where I got reflection, and I have to work with value and or let go. I'm actually going to use value and let go. I've decided my affirmation is, when I value and let go of my reflections. Now notice that I did add a little change here. I put when I value and let go of my reflections instead of reflection. Maybe that's something I need to work on. Originally, it's ideal that you keep the original word, when I value and let go of my reflection, not so much my reflections. However, my brain's being a little stubborn and it really wants me to put in reflections. I am going to allow it because there this is a gentle process and you want to give yourself a little bit of leeway to be able to go through the process. But to be completely honest with you, it's really good to kind of create sentences that focus on the word as is. That being said, I did take a little creative liberties with creativity and I put creative instead of creativity. Maybe this is a good thing to note. Maybe there's a reason why I kept it this way when really I could have thought a little bit harder to think, how could I use the word creativity or even aware inspire just as they are to create my sentence? But we're not going to focus too much on that here. That's something to be analyzed later. But it's just to let you know that in case those things do happen to you, don't beat yourself up about it. If it happens and that's the way you want your sentence, it happens. The important thing is to create a sentence or affirmation that rings true to you and makes you feel good and something that you can work with. That being said, let's move along. So for my fourth square, I got mastery with my icky spider. I'm going to cover him up for a moment there. And the words here I have is trust and or persist. I actually want to use both of them as well. I want to use trust and persist. And my sentence is, when I trust and persist to achieve my mastery. That sounds pretty good. I'm going to move on to my next one. So here we are back to my original card, 71, which I put in anchor, and I need to use the word suffering with thank and or forgive. At the moment, I really only want to use the word forgive, and my sentence is, when I forgive my struggle with suffering. Now, there is a much more detailed process on how I got to these sentences. You can actually watch the live session video that I had with Guineret where we created these sentences together in a more in-depth way, where we really kind of worked through the sentences and I had to analyze the images each of these cards and the words and how they connected with me to really kind of zone in and kind of hone to exactly the kind of sentences and affirmations I wanted to create. It's a much longer process than what I'm showing you here. Remember, this is just a tutorial video. I'm giving you the kind of quick and easy route of how to get it. But I highly suggest you watch the other videos to show you really what an intense, deep process it is to be able to get to these sentences. Do not take them lightly. The reason being is that these sentences are the ones that are going to stick with you for the rest of the game. We are not going to change these sentences no matter what happens. Each one of these sentences have to ring strong and true for you. And always remember that they are working towards your show me the way vision or effective question. So when you create these, really take time with them, work with them, create a relationship with them, create an intimacy with them. Make sure that they're expressing really what it is you want to feel. It's going to be so important as part of your show me gameplay from here on out. So now a little fun kind of homework for you to do. You can take your cards, whether it be the picture cards or the word cards, and what you can do once a day, each day into your next week is kind of randomly shuffle them up and pick a card out, which is kind of going to be the card for you to focus on for the day. I'm going to pick one randomly and see what word comes out. Reflection. So today, my cards are kind of telling me to reflect. Reflect on whatever comes to me. Maybe reflect on the homework I did today. No matter what card comes up, there's always a fun little message there. So on a final note, the 5 picture cards and the 5 word cards that you had picked to go with your emotion map, keep them with your map. Don't put them back into the deck. We're going to be doing some really fun work with them for the next time. So I hope you had a really good session this week and look forward to seeing you next time.